former Councilman McMurray brought this to our attention that we have some things, some of our terms not correct. So for example, we have 3 council members who have terms expiring in even years. So just, yeah, I don't know how much we want to get into this, but we currently have council terms that are not in line with what they should be, and we do want to get things back in line, and we want to make sure that we're doing things properly.
Well, you have some thoughts on this already. I mean, you made changes to the city website, to my term, Ned's term, and Nick's term.
Not on a next.
Yeah, tracking
Yeah,
what should have, tracking the right way it should have been done.
You altered the public record without proper authorization.
Thomas Mullins' seat, yours should have expired in 25. Nick's should have also expired in 25.
No. No, I just got reelected, so that the screw up, yes, we need to fix it, but that doesn't affect our time now.
So yeah, we went through an improper process, so that's why we got to where we are now.
Dan, this is clearly a legal question.
We need to make sure we fix this.
I think if I know there's some kind of like overlap between when somebody resigned, or I know there was another city council member that passed away, and then there was an appointment. And so the way it works is that if you've been appointed, you carry out the remainder of that term, and then it's supposed to go to the next regular election, where then that person who was appointed could be up for re-election. So I think if we have any city council members that have a term that's potentially ending in 2025, I think the best way to do it would be to call a special election. And then that's usually, I believe that has to be done, it can't be done within 60 days of a notice. And basically what the city council would do is they pass a resolution for a special election. And then basically we just make sure that everybody has properly been elected. I think I'll look into it a little bit further, but I think those that are appointed can kind of continue in that position until the special election occurs.
No one here is appointed anymore.
We have been elected and sworn to office. Just because our dates are off shouldn't affect us having to run again.
Yeah, 3 years were taken off of my term.
That would be
One
stealing
term was taken
3
off
years
of
from my
Nick's.
term.
3 years.
If he wants
But
to
you
say
guys
this
should
expires.
not have run in an even year.
That's not my.
And what occurred,
But
Dan,
that
was
is
there was
because of a person that is no longer here that was doing her job.
Correct, so why should we
improperly.
be punished?
I don't think you're being punished. I think you are getting your term corrected. You
No,
sat on
technically my
here.
first term should have been 2 years longer.
Let's ask the attorney where
So-
we stand.
So really, they only
I
2 years
think
from
that
after.
Michelle should go through and
I
get it
think-
all figured out where it needs to be so that we can see where it should be.
Dan, if someone is elected to the position on a wrong year, me for example, on 2024 to a 4-year term, do we correct the situation by taking 3 years off of my term?
I would say we.
Only a judge should be able to do that.
he was
I was
not
not
part of an
appointed.
election.
Yes,
I
we
was a
were. We
write-in
filled out the
candidate
paperwork. We got
and
the
ele-
signatures. Technically, we are elected officials.
Technically, that was not supposed to be a municipal election year. We should
Doesn't
not
matter.
have had
It's
an
what
election
happened.
that year at all.
Yeah,
And we
there was
put out.
no election coordinated by Otero County.
There was
Because
a-
nobody ran against our seats.
Okay.
It was publicly announced that there was candidacy and that there was going to be an election. Nobody ran against us.
We collected our petitions and did the proper footwork that was needed to be done. Nobody ran against 2 of our seats. He was a write-in candidate. Nobody ran against him. We were elected officials according to the state of Colorado.
Michelle,
Okay, so-
have you
so-
gone back through and been
Let
able
Dan
to?
answer.
I'm allowed to ask a question of our city clerk.
The Muni Code 1010-2A says that 3 council members shall be elected for a 4-year term every regular election. So this last election, there were 2 council seats missing from the election, and there was only 1 on there, and it had the incorrect term. So I think that the election has to be redone, a special election. This is going to have to go through the district court.
Dan, the
It
second.
didn't have an incorrect term, so that one
It
is
did have
totally good.
incorrect-
But it did. When
Incorrect term.
we put out election notifications still on our website, Her term is listed as a 2-year term.
Her
Which makes it
it's-
an
it's-
invalid
she
election.
was
It was on the
elected for a
ballot.
two-year
It's a
term.
4-year term,
Technically,
so
you shouldn't have to run the same time.
The
I'm
ballot
running.
said
we had-
2 years.
what we had
The
with,
ballot is what
with
matters.
the appointments was Johnny's term, technically, if we went in line with the way that it should be, the seat that he filled shouldn't be up until 2027, and in 2025, it should have been Nanette's Ward 1, it should have been Nick's Ward 2, and it should have been Thomas's in Ward 3. And then in 2027, we would have one from Ward 1, one from Ward 2, one from Ward 3.
Yeah. Well,
And that's-
you know, I mean, it sounds like, you know,
My
there's
seat
some-
would expire in 2027.
Yeah. some
It would have,
potential,
because
like,
you filled someone else, you filled
If my
someone
seat
else's
was
seat.
good until 2027, then I should be sitting up there now.
Then,
But if you
let me-
are sitting up here, then that means that they shouldn't. So we gotta
We
figure
just
out
have to follow,
what's-
I
yeah.
think Dan would confirm that we just have to follow what the law is, and whatever the Muni Code says, we should stand by that.
I think it also involves Michelle going back and checking and making sure who took over whose seat and who should be doing what term. Michelle needs to do the thing, and I think based on what Michelle finds, that is what the recommendation we should go for. Michelle needs to do the research.
And I do have kind of an overview of this also. So I think probably what makes the most sense would be to potentially call a special election. But why don't I do this? Why don't we? You know, I know we have. Why don't we have an executive session? You know, at the next regular meeting, and then I'll be able to give you kind of a more fully informed idea of what we should do. But I think what I'm kind of leaning towards would be a special election, and then potentially having.
It's very convenient.
Yeah, and then we have a special election, and then we don't have any type of discrepancies or any type of issues. You know what I mean? Everything will be kind of clarified.
Okay, then let me ask you a question, Dan. I have a concern about the unauthorized exercise of official function by Mayor Goulet and going into the public record of our website and changing the dates of our terms before it was ever brought to council. How do you feel about that?
What do you mean on the website? What was it changed from?
He actually went, it's been changed back now. Actually,
Some of it.
Yeah.
Some of it has been changed back, but not all of it. So he went in and altered the dates to put in what he thought was correct before we even had a chance to talk about it. Before we even knew there was any discrepancies, it was changed on the website, which
Yeah,
is
I don't-
official
I don't-
public
I don't-
record.
I don't know that that's necessarily, you know, legal, to be honest, but,
Well, according to CRS 18-4-404, it's official misconduct. He doesn't have the authority to do that.
I
What is
do,
it?
I've been given
CRS
the
what?
authority.
I thought your access to the
18-8-404 is what I find, official
The
misconduct.
website, do you still have access?
What was it?
Was it? I mean, I'm asking.
Or 18-8-114, false altercation of a public
Did you have
record.
access?
Well, I did after you changed the website.
okay, why don't we do this? Why don't we have an exec session? We'll go into kind of the details of all this and kind of a plan for moving forward. I think that's probably the best way to kind of handle this at this point. I have kind of a general sense from, you know, what we discussed here. Then I can give you kind of more of an informed idea and moving forward. Does that all make sense? Does that work?
And Dan, that would take place at our next regular meeting,
Yeah, I know the next meeting.
not until January.
Oh, it's not until January.
We vacated the
I
23rd.
think he's referring to the special meeting on Monday.
Or the meeting on
No,
Tuesday.
yeah, next regular meeting.
Yeah, okay, or potentially what I could do is I can send you all an email as well. It gives you kind of the overview of you know, our recommendations. You know, so then we don't have to wait to January to discuss.
Any other follow-ups there?
I guess we just let people keep getting away with things.
So I'd say, former Councilman McMurray, thank you very much for bringing this to our attention, and I want to see this get addressed and make sure that we're doing it right, because it is doing right by the citizens to make sure that these terms are correct and the votes are, you know, they're able to elect the people that they want to represent them.
Yeah, and also as long as, you know, the terms are correct, we shouldn't have a problem. my seat doesn't expire until 2027, then that should be corrected also. So
Agreed.
my name should be back up here, and I should still be up here, and we would have gotten out of here a lot sooner if this wouldn't have got all screwed
Well,
up.
as of right now, it is correct.
Not
But
if it didn't expire until
if we go back,
2027.
But it's been vacated, and
It should
we're
not have
going off
been.
of what we.
That
What
vacated
we
seat,
knew.
that would have been an invalid vacate. If the seat didn't expire until 2027, then you're changing the terms, you're changing the rules, you're not following the Muni code, and it hurts the integrity of our whole council when we do that.
And you know, I agree that we need to get this corrected. So,
Well, you said yourself just a little bit ago that his term didn't expire until 2027.
Yeah, so if my
So
term
should
didn't
not he be sitting here?
expire,
So-
I should be sitting there.
if this was all done.
He didn't
So I was,
vacate you.
I was
ordered.
wrongfully
You guys
removed
didn't
from
His
the
would
council.
be, his seat would be the one that expires in 2027.
So you sat on that while we
Yours would
vacated
be
the seat.
The one that expires in
So you
2025.
sat on that
No, and actually,
information
if
while
I
we vacated
served
the
my
seat.
first full term,
It's
Yeah, but I
it's
was
just-
elected
it's
only given
looking
a
at
two-year
blocks.
term.
It's looking at those cinder blocks.
So we
right there.
shouldn't have
Each one of
the-
those cinder blocks is a 4-year term. If we look and see who left, who was appointed, we can track it. We can track it all the way.
But Rebecca hasn't tracked it
But
for
that's, if
8
we
years.
were to go and line back up with the way it should be, then that's the way it would be. But we have went through this process, and I think that's what we need to understand, is we kind of unofficially create a new process, and that's where we are today. Or, you know, can we fix this and make sure all the terms get back in line? Every election, we should have a mayor, 3 people, and 1 council member from every ward, every
Yes.
election.
correct. And what I'm saying is that my first term was only a 2-year term. So, yes, it was.
It shouldn't have been.
It shouldn't have been, you're right,
I'm
but it
saying
was.
that
So I'm still owed
If my
that
term
time.
didn't expire till
I'm still a year off
2027, I was
that time.
wrongfully removed from the council.
I'm actually not sure.
And I've been elected twice.
You filled, I don't remember what it.
I took Johnette's seat, but it was at an election.
Okay.
Yes, the election may have been the wrong year, but that doesn't change the fact that I still did everything I needed to do to be elected.
Right.
Same like I did last year, to be elected.
So
It shouldn't punish us.
So Johnette started that 4-year term in 21, which would have expired in 25. So
So
when you were appointed to.
Let it be
comply-
I
known
was
to
not
everybody
appointed. I
that my
went through
term
the
didn't
election
end
process.
until 2027, and I was wrongfully removed from this council.
If it was done.
You said
properly,
yourself
if it was done
that my
properly.
term did not end until 2027.
Yeah.
I was
That you
wrongfully
should
removed from this
not
council.
be-
I think if this all gets
The
fixed.
attorney is right here asking.
Count McMurray would be back up here, and
Then everything we did today was a
Mullins
waste of time
is
because that vote
up
would have
for
changed so much of
re-election
it.
or reappointment.
Didn't matter which way he went, those votes would have went. We would have had 3-3 votes.
A lot of them, no.
But whoever removed his placard and told him he couldn't sit up here, whoever made that decision,
Well, based on.
I'm
based
going to
on the
file a
process,
formal
he-
complaint for this. I was wrongfully removed from this council, and I rightfully had that.
Okay, you're no longer recognized.
Well, I am recognized because
So
I am
do we
actually
need
still a sitting
any
council
more-
member according to
any
the
more
law.
Discussion here.
But yeah, so why don't I'll dig in on this. I mean, obviously there's a lot of background on it. I have some of the backgrounds that Michelle sent me. And so I'll just kind of track the statute and how long each of these terms last. And then I'll get, it sounds like we're not gonna have a special meeting until, or sorry, a regular meeting until January. So let me see if I can send you all kind of an email, kind of collectively together on all this and kind of my thoughts. And then I think we can kind of take it from there. And then if for whatever reason, if we want to kind of reconvene at the next meeting, we can discuss in more detail. Does that all work?
Can that be an item on our special meeting?
It may need to be,
I mean,
if the decision is that the seats are gonna change up here before we vote on them,
I agree. I think that
then
if
we should just do it, correct it.
Yeah.
It
If
needs
you're
to
gonna
be
kick
done.
me off, kick me off. If Johnny has his seat back up here, put him back up here.
Yeah, why don't we do this?
I am
Why don't,
represented, by the way.
We'll set it, why don't we set it for executive session for legal advice? And Michelle, I can work with you on that, so we can put the agenda for that.
Okay, so would that be at the upcoming special meeting, or would that be at our next regular meeting?
You know, I'm happy to do it in the special meeting on Monday. I mean, I think I just, either way.
or our
what
work
we
session on
can-
the 16th, do we do?
Yeah, whether we do it then or I do it by email, and I'll make sure I address this before the end of the year.
All right.
So the executive session needs to be first. On
Yeah.
the 15th.
On 15.
Yeah.
We can do
This
that.
needs to be hashed out before we finish the budget.
I'm good with that.
I'll agree with that as well.
This needs to be straightened out. Who need, these seats and everybody needs to be straight. Because obviously
Well,
Nanette's didn't
because if
go
you
right.
go by what
Yeah.
Dwayne's saying, then there won't be enough people to have council.
Because literally.
You won't have a quorum.
A
If you go
quorum is
back
only
instead of-
required of the number of seated seats, correct?
Nope, we need a quorum of the full 7.
It's, the only, if there were changes to go back to the exact way that the terms would be,
All three of us.
your 2 seats would be gone and Johnny would be back up here. Your 2 seats would be vacant.
So we would still have 5 seated, we would have 5. We would have Robert,
We'll wait for
Nanette,
Robert's
me.
we'll wait for
Same
the
as
attorney
ours.
to make that
I think
decision.
it's possible at district.
So if mine's invalid, so is
Potentially
Robert's.
the court, because that's where this is gonna go.
Again, I will reiterate that I think with Michelle and Dan going back and looking at where the terms should be, that we need to look at where that says we should be and see if we agree that that works.
Well, and I believe-
Until we know what that is, we're arguing over nothing.
Well, I believe at one time.
Just saying, I'm gonna
the
sit up here for
CML
the
said
next
that
3
we could
years.
adjust those without a special election. So we just add a year to mine and Roberts. And we leave his wherever it is.
Unfortunately, Thomas, you can't, your term has to end in an odd year. Your
Well,
term can't end in an even year based on
You
our
don't get to make that decision, the
ordinances.
attorneys and the courts.
Well, I agree, but I'm just
I mean, it's
stating
sort of
based on our
Yeah.
ordinance.
If that's what you
it
guys
shouldn't
try to
be
do,
that
we
way.
It
will go to
sounds
court.
like we're done on this conversation.
Yeah.
So,
Nobody's gonna
I'll
get
dig in
anywhere.
on it, and I'll give you all.
I'll give you my attorney's information.
all right, we'll move on to the next item.